It's the Retro Hunting Adventures, and there ain't nothing to it but to do it. So let's get right into it after these introductory words from MegaManFan.
Yo, this is MegaManFan, and you need to rock and or roll on over to Mr. MegaManFan's YouTube channel, because it's all that rush to make it happen. Peace!
I'm your host, Mr. MegaManFan, with a lot of different things assembled from a lot of different sources, starting with a game from pop culture, The Little Mermaid. It was only $3.99. I was stunned to find I didn't already have it. Let's test this one out, shall we? According to the ever-reliable Wikipedia, the NES and Game Boy versions of this game were released on the exact same day, July 19th, 1991, produced by Takuro Fujiwara, composed by Yasuaki Fujita, and published by Capcom. It is a side-scrolling platformer similar to other Disney games of the era, and in this one, Ariel shoots bubbles at her foes to trap them and to throw them. I don't think much more needs to be said about this other than it's kind of surprising that they haven't re-released it on modern consoles. They certainly went out of their way to do so for The Lion King and Tarzan, so there's no good reason why not. Next we have Tempest 4000 for PlayStation 4, which I couldn't resist because it was in the bargain bin for just $3. Can you really go wrong with a Tempest game for $3? I suppose you can if it's all scratched up and not working, so let's get a quick look at this disc before I pop it in. And it seems to be mostly clean, so I think we'll be good here, but let's load it into the PS4 and make sure. For those of you not familiar with Tempest, the arcade game first came out in 1981, published by Atari, programmed by Dave Fewer, and it used a rotary dial so that you could spin all the way around these levels and shoot the aliens as they moved from the inner circle to the outer circle. Now, ever since that time, Jeff Minter and his company Llamasoft have become very associated with remakes and updates of the Tempest formula, including Tempest 4000. This game was a little controversial when it was announced as a launch title for the still unreleased Atari VCS microconsole. Jeff Minter and his company immediately denied having anything to do with their Kickstarter piece of you-know-what. So, if you want to play Tempest 4000, play it on PS4, Xbox One, PC, but don't expect to be playing it on Atari VCS anytime soon, if that thing even ever comes out. So far, we've had one game from pop culture and one game from Half Price Books, so now let's go with one from Trade Post, Winnie the Pooh's Rumbly Tumbly Adventure. Another one of those games that I was kind of stunned that I didn't already have in my GameCube collection, and since it was complete with the instruction manual, I was happy to pick it up. A lot of times when you find used GameCube games anymore, they're either incomplete or they're not even in authentic boxes and have reprinted artwork. So seeing complete in the box with the manual and even the GameCube warnings and instructions manual, that's a pretty good deal. The GameCube version of this title came out February 15th, 2005, but there were also releases for PlayStation 2, Game Boy Advance, PS3, and even mobile devices. I have a soft spot in my heart for Winnie the Pooh. I was a big fan of Tigger growing up because Tiggers love to bounce. I even have a Tigger coffee mug that I drink coffee out of when I'm not using my Mega Man E-Tank coffee mug, so there you go. Winnie the Pooh is always going to be special to me, and it's also special seeing him run at 1 frame per second. That made me think the disc was having a problem, but no, I guess that's just the loading sequence, how it goes, because the rest of the performance is perfectly fine as far as I can tell, so this is a successfully tested game, and we can move on to the next thing in the stack. World Series of Poker brings us back to Half Price Books, and I would have picked this one up anyway because it was only $5 and it was a game I didn't have, but there was a little surprise inside. I couldn't believe it. Somebody had left a perfectly good 1019 memory card in here. This thing goes for $20. It's worth more than the game was. That is freaking amazing. It's not the first time I've gotten a memory card that somebody left in that memory card holder inside of a GameCube game, but it doesn't happen very often, so it's always a treat when you find one that somebody left in here. Let's see if there's actually a World Series of Poker save on this memory card. Okay, this is probably way funnier to me than it would be to most people, but this memory card is virtually empty. Most of the storage space is still free, and there's not a single save for World Series of Poker on here anywhere, which means they just stuck the memory card in this case for safekeeping and then completely forgot they put it in there when they traded it in or sold it, and nobody else ever took it out in all that time. And look at these save file dates. 2049, 2050. Somebody was not putting the correct date and time on their GameCube in the settings, or they just didn't give a flip and set it as far ahead as they possibly could. So, what do you know? Free memory card for me. I put my own GameCube memory card that I've had since day one back in for creating a save file, since I use it regularly for most of the games that I play, and it always stays in my GameCube. I never leave it inside of a GameCube game case. So, this is just a quick run through to make sure this disc is tested and working. I already got my money's worth just from the bonus memory card that was included in it, but we might as well find out if it's a working copy of World Series of Poker, which, again, was a game I didn't even have, so I won all around. No pun intended on gambling here. Gambling games don't really light my world on fire, but at least in something like World Series of Poker, you're bluffing or using strategies, so I went all in right away just to see what would happen, fast-forwarded through all the other players, waited for the flop, and I turned out a winning hand, so going all in worked for me. I'm celebrating like a champ here, and that's good enough. It works. We've got another bargain bin pickup from Half Price Books here. This is Deadpool for Xbox 360, and as he says himself, this is what an awesome game looks like, and here's why you need my game. It's got me. Of course it does, Deadpool. We're happy for that, and it's as complete as an Xbox 360 game from this era would be. A very skimpy manual that just tells you what the controls are and the disc, which appears to be mostly clean. But would you even want a clean game from the Merc with a mouth? You'd probably want it to be a little filthy. Now, this game originally came out in 2013, late June for PS3, Xbox 360, and Windows. And it was available in digital storefronts for a while until there was a Marvel licensing issue, and it was removed on January 1st, 2014. Then it became available again in mid-2016, and by November 2017, it was down again. So this is why physical media is important, people. You can't count on your digital downloads to be available forever, especially if your hard drive gets corrupted, you lose your system, it gets stolen, and you have to buy a new one. You might want to go back and download another copy of the game and then find out, oh, the licensing issues have caused it to be pulled. I can't get my game back now. And that just sucks. Even Deadpool would say, that just sucks. Just like he thinks having a writer scripting what he says sucks. We go from that decidedly not child-friendly game to something that's almost 180 degrees the opposite. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for Sega CD. And originally this was part of my Sega CD haul, but I got sent Sonic CD by mistake. We got those issues ironed out, and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was sent to me in the mail in exchange for Sonic CD. You might say I'm crazy because I traded away a more valuable game for a less valuable one, but I already had Sonic CD and I didn't need two copies, and what I paid for was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, so go Power Rangers. Let's get this packing tape off of it and make sure everything is in good condition, or as good as it can be for a 25 plus year old game. Now, it's complete in the box, obviously. The manual's in the front, and the gem case is mostly uncracked. There's a tiny little crack at the top, but it's not broken in the middle, and both the hinges are on there, which is a huge plus for Sega CD games, because a lot of times they're missing one or the other. And we've even got the styrofoam insert inside the case. So things are looking pretty good so far. The disc itself, it's slightly rough, but I don't see any deep gouges in it that make me think it would skip or be unplayable. Let's go put it in the JVC-Xi and find out. Now, I'm afraid I'm going to have to mute the audio here because I don't want any issues from Toei for their Zoo Ranger footage or from Saban Entertainment for their 4 Fox Kids, which spawned numerous video games, numerous adaptations, numerous franchises. Put this one on the top of the stack when I started recording, but we have Pinball Hall of Fame, the Gottlieb Collection. As you can see here, I've got a couple different versions of it, but I picked up this one from Half Price Books because it is already opened and I can get into it and enjoy it right away. So let's go ahead and make sure this too is a working game, because at only $5, it wasn't a huge expenditure, but better safe than sorry. Looking good, looking good. The game booted up just fine, and now I'm in the main menu looking at all the different options, which includes their Hall of Fame of pinball and novelty arcade games. So if I hit the X button, we can go through all those different classic tables and amusement games you would see at a place like Dave & Buster's. It's just a bunch of different Gottlieb games, things they manufactured, but the pinball tables are, of course, going to be the good draw. The flipper controls are your left trigger and your right trigger at the top of the PSP, and to activate the plunger, you have to pull down on the analog stick and let it go to snap it back and fire your pinball into the table. And some of these tables are locked until you earn enough credits in the normal game mode, so that's kind of annoying, but I will resolve that issue in time by playing the Pinball Hall of Fame collection and earning all of these different games. That's it for this PSP title, but we've got one more thing to go before we're done here, and that's this package from the Cross-Stitched Gamer, who happens to be in a relationship with a good friend of mine, Nick Marsco, and when I found their Instagram profile and took a look at what they had to offer, I realized I needed to get some of their products. And you'll see why when I dump them out of this envelope. We have here a transgender 8-bit heart, which looks like it came from The Legend of Zelda and will go perfectly on my Mario hat, as will this 1-up mushroom that has the entire Pride Rainbow LGBTQIA. I'm proud to support the Cross Stitcher and Nick and Mallory Marsico. Please check out their store. The items are very affordable and always being restocked. I'm Mr. MegaManFan. Thanks for watching.